The Dragon's Lair. The great dragon prophet Glint is not easy to find, for she uses powerful magics to make her lair inside a single crystalline grain of sand. A person could search 100 lifetimes and never find the exact grain. The only true entrance is through this portal beyond the challenges of Augury Rock. Whew, it's been a week, guys. This is the first video I've produced in a few days, though you may not have noticed since I put in some time over the break before going back to work so that you have a daily upload to watch. It feels good to be making videos again. With that being said, welcome back to the Guild Wars 1 Let's Play, everybody. After defeating our doppelganger at Augury Rock, we were teleported to a place marked on no map and contained in a single grain of sand. As the name suggests, the Dragon's Lair is the home of Glint, a prophetic dragon who we've heard in at least 2 missions so far, Aurora Glade and Augury Rock. She has set up more trials for us in her lair before she will grant us an audience, and Isobel and her party must defeat several facets representing each of the 6 classes in the Prophecies campaign. On top of that, each facet's domain has an extra hindrance in the form of debuffs. For example, the Facet of Light imposes a debuff called the Domain of Health Training, where you and your party receive a constant -3 health generation. You'll see the rest of them on the screen. This mission is also a great opportunity to capture several elite skills that are only found in this mission throughout all of Prophecies. You can see that Isobel captured Shield of Regeneration from the Facet of Light. You may also recognize that we have a party of 8 for the first time in the Let's Play. Dragon's Lair is the first outpost that allows players to do so if you're playing the game in order. Minerva joins Isobel again and brings a mixture of heroes and mercenaries from his account. I have to be honest, while many of the recent missions have not been too challenging, Dragon's Lair proved even easier than the Trials of Ascension before Augury Rock. The trash packs of creatures in each facet's wing are easily dispensable, even with the hindrances and debuffs placed on the party. Even the facets themselves just stand there. And that brings me to perhaps my first criticism of the game in the series, in that the deck building and counterplay mechanics at the root of Guild Wars 1's combat do indeed add so much depth to the game, but perhaps it's the animations or the lack of boss stages, and that there really isn't too much to the combat loop itself other than the counterplay aspect, and the raw damage that you get from equipment and attributes. With boons, enchantments, and other item buffs, I imagine it's even more of a breeze blowing through this content. Don't get me wrong, that is not certainly why I love this game, as the Let's Play is mostly about the content and the story more so than anything else. It's also not lost on me that Minerva certainly brings an additional power creep to my playthrough here, but it's so much more fun playing with another player and utilizing the game's AI through mercs and heroes, in addition to the henchmen we experienced for the vast majority of the playthrough before the Maguma jungle. As I mentioned earlier, Minerva's party composition makes moving through each wing pretty simple. However, you do see that Isobel dies at one point because I did not pay attention to the wards where the elementalist skills are cast. You also see in the Chaos wing that unless you have spells, you will be unable to attack the crystalline mobs behind the walls. The ambiance is so good in this mission. I love how simple yet effective it was to put a color filter over each wing to indicate what type of mobs and skills you can expect to fight based on the color associated with each class. The assets don't have a lot of variety, but that's okay. If I had to make a few skill recommendations to deal with some of the environmental debuffs and other hindrances, I would bring skills to counter the health degen such as Healing Breeze. Watch out for the corpses in the Facet of Darkness wing, as they have Death Nova, which can do party-wide damage and poison if you're not careful. Shouts and signets that prevent knockdown for the Facet of Strength are also going to be useful so you can avoid the knockdown every 25 seconds, especially if you're running through this mission with just henchmen. I'm going to let the footage for the rest of the mission play out before we get to the cutscene so you guys can see kind of what we had to deal with each of the wings that remain in the mission. After defeating the 6 facets, you finally arrive in the center of the lair where you find the dragon Glint, and one of the game's most important cutscenes so far in the story. Let's hear what the prophet has to say.
It was almost 800 years ago when I foresaw the Flame Seeker prophecies. You have ascended and awakened the gift of true sight that lay dormant within you. The moment has finally come. You are the chosen I have been waiting for. While you've been in the desert, the rest of the world has changed. Let me show you. As you know, those who you once called friends have become enemies. Their souls are darkened by a deep secret. The unseen gods they speak of are nothing more than a terrible and fearful race of spellcasters known as the Mursat. As I have foreseen, the Mursat will meet their demise at the hands of the Chosen. Their stranglehold on the lands of Kryta and beyond will be broken. For years, the Mursat and their human disciples have hunted down the Chosen, murdering them to prevent the prophecies from coming to pass. But you have slipped through their fingers, and your friends now pay the price. The one called Marcus betrays them as he betrayed you, and if you do not hurry to their aid, none will survive. Many have already been taken captive. Their souls will be reaped upon one of the 5 bloodstones, just as the chosen you witnessed being slaughtered in the Maguma jungle. If this happens, no magic in this world or any other will bring them back. Of the future, this you must know. Your story does not end in the mountains. Your true destiny will lead you to the west, to the Ring of Fire. Seek the flame, for within it lies the power to destroy both good and evil. This portal will take you to the Shiver Peak Mountains. I know you have questions, but there are some things you must know, and others that you must discover upon your journey. Go now. Save your friends. They will not last through the night.
Alright, before we address the lore bombs dropped by Glint in that cutscene, let me explain the bonus objective. If you're curious enough, you might have noticed that there are dragon eggs on the floor of Glint's lair, and if you just so happen to pick one up, well, Mama gets angry. You need to defeat Glint before going through the portal. As you can see, she wasn't too difficult, though she does pack a punch. Now, about that cutscene, it certainly put some of the puzzle pieces together, didn't it? We find out that Glint has foreseen all that has occurred so far in the story, and it turns out that we are the chosen we learned about way back in Kryta. We also learned that the culty Jim Jones vibes we were getting from the White Mantle were pretty accurate. It turns out that Confessor Dorian and the White Mantle worship some magical beings called the Mursat, who we can now see with the gift of true sight that we gained in the Crystal Desert. Our friends in the Shining Blade have been captured and taken to the southern Shiver Peaks, a place we have yet to explore. Glint is kind enough to grant us passage through a portal and onto the next part of our journey. I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the prophecy revealed to us by Glint, and if you picked up on any of the hints earlier in the story. Let me know in the comments below. A full story recap will be included in the next video since we're once again going to a new region of the game, and I'll see you guys next time.